What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. I'm the Poetic Killer, and in today's video, we're gonna be doing a vlog. We're just in a different environment, so we're back home in the motherland. So I'm just showing you guys just the area, just seeing the view. Yeah, so it's good to be back. But in today's video, we're gonna be talking about um how to be holy using astrology. And when I talk about holy, I'm not talking about holy in terms of the traditional moralistic way of holy, of what it means to be good and bad and things like that. I'm talking more about holy, like both sides of yourselves. You know what I mean? Both halves to create the whole. So we all come with our astrology, right? With our snapshot. So let's say if you're a Scorpio, that's your energy. You know what I'm saying? So with that being your energy, you might struggle with working with your opposite energy, which will be Taurus. So you might work with being stable in terms of no worrying about emotions, just pure material. You know what I'm saying? And with Scorpios, that's hard because Scorpios like to be deep with emotions and things like that. So having like deep emotions, it's like you know what I mean. It's more like it's hard for you to be in that situation. You might not want to deal with that situation because you need some depth. You need to feel it. Whereas Taurus, they don't care about the feelings. It's all about the materialistic gain and how comfortable it makes them feel. You know what I mean? So they need the physical to make them feel in tune. Whereas Scorpios need just the pure emotions. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's very beautiful. It's good to be back. We've got some palm trees, things like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's start off with Aries, right? Because we're talking about how to be holy with astrology. So, oh, that stinks. God damn. Anyway, as I was saying, how to be holy with astrology. So you gotta master both halves of yourself. So usually you grow up with your energy, and then you're faced with 180 degrees challenges, which is your other half. And once you master that element, you become holy. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's get to it. Um, so Aries. So if you're an Aries, you come with the energy of being an individual, learning how to be an individual, learning how to be by yourself, learning how to do things on your own, learning your identity and creating your identity. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you perceive yourself and the outside world. Then you also have the fire energy, so you're very impulsive. You like to do things now because you're cardinal energy. So having cardinal energy, you you don't really think about the other. You know what I mean? Because it's Martian, and Martian has to do with the singular. So you don't really have to worry about like other people. You just worry about yourself because that's what life has always brought you. But then you're going to be met with situations where if you don't learn how to be 180 degree, aka Libra, learn how to balance and see other perspectives, then it's hard to become holy because you'll always manifest situations where instead of there to be balance, it's fire there. So it's burned bridges, you know what I mean? So you have to learn at the same time to become holy, you got to use the 180 degree. You got to use the Venus energy. You got to use the balance energy, my energy. In certain situations, not all of them. And there'll be times where you're gonna have to go back and resort back to your own energy, which is the areas of being by yourself, or thinking of the self, or um, recreating your identity. You know what I'm saying? So that's how you have the balance. The balance is learning how to be by yourself, mastering self, and sometimes, unfortunately, when it comes to Aries, because it's a Martian energy, Mars has to do with like fire and impulse and things like that. So You don't really get time to be in your Venus energy. Because when you're in your Martian energy, it's like it's no love, it's all just war, you know what I mean? And because you're so used to that energy, it's hard for you to be. Sorry, I gotta jump over these. These don't even feel stable. Sometimes you're playing, it's all good though. Sometimes you gotta just trust the process. Even though these things could, okay, there's one right there that has a missing. So you have to always trust the process, you know what I'm saying? And when you trust the process, things will work out. Okay, so as I was saying, Aries, yeah, so you gotta be, you've learned in life to be by yourself, and that could be through, guidance or just you having to survive on your own. So it's hard to be in the Venus energy or the opposite energy. But once you learn how to be and master both elements, then you become truly holy and everything will perfectly work out for you. All right, let's get to the next one. We got Taurus. So in terms of Taurus energy, you got to learn how to be 180 degree. To be holy, you got to be in your Scorpio energy. So not everything's always going to be about the material. Sometimes you have to search deeper than that. You got to search deep beneath the surface. Because sometimes Taurus can be very surface level. So by going deep within, you're exploring parts of yourself that like you've never done before. You know what I mean? So that's very important to do. Um, you know, like in life, you might have grown up just having to worry about how to survive materialistically. You know what I mean? So because you've done that your whole life, you might not have the time to, dive deep within yourself and know who you are, who you truly are. You might have always had to just worry about making ends meet or just worrying about, if you came from a very, like, let's say a very wealthy family, you just have to worry about the business, worry about keeping up with the business and things like that. I'm going to walk back and worrying about just how you present yourself, to the world in terms of your status base or your materialistic base, which there's nothing wrong with that, but you never had the time to dive deep. You never had time to be transformed. You always like things a certain way because it's just, it's comfortable. It's what you're used to, which makes sense. You know what I mean? So that's not. There's nothing wrong with that. But eventually, life is going to bring you very deep, dark, transformative experiences, and once you master that, aka master yourself, that's when you become holy. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be able to be ready for any transformative experiences, even stuff that like might take you, by surprise. Because Pluto, it's not Uranus though, which is like more like Aquarius energy, which is rapid transformation. Pluto is more like it takes time. I believe Pluto is like cycles like 30 years or something like that. So it takes time. It's not something that's just rapid, but eventually, sometimes Pluto, if you don't transform your situation or transform yourself, Pluto will transform you for you, which won't be good because you're not ready. So if you get to transform it for yourself, then you get to tweak things in your own way that still makes you stable, but you still have a deep connection, to who you are and and what makes you, what's your core values and your core energy. So that's how it goes. If you're a Taurus, you got to start learning about your subconscious, the occult, learning about deep within yourself, who you truly are, because Scorpio has to do with what? It's ruled by Mars. Martian energy is who you are. And then ruled by Pluto. So you're always transforming. So your identity, you're always transforming. You know what I'm saying? You're always going through death and rebirth. So that's just part of energy and the element that you need to master to become holy. Um, then we got Gemini. Gemini, you need to learn how to be more Sagittarian like. So you got to learn how to be more Jupiterian. You got to learn how to see the bigger picture of things. Yeah, it's good to have small chit chat all the time, but sometimes you got to be more. You got to look for more philosophy. Look for the bigger picture. Um, expand your mind. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to be part of the local thinking, but then also it's good sometimes also to have a bigger picture. Create your own philosophy. You know what I mean? Learn how to experience things more. Don't just base your knowledge on um, what you know. Base it on what you've experienced. That's when you're really in your Jupiterian energy. You're in your Sagittarius energy. You become holy. You got 180 degrees. Um, so first, learn. Gemini's are very great for communicating with people. You know what I mean? They know how to be very social, which is very good. Um, but Gemini's also are sometimes they can be just be their thinking might be very naive. You know what I mean? But you got to experience things first. When you experience things, that's when your world will change and expand. It will be more broadened. So it's very important. What else? Yeah, that's pretty much with Gemini. Yeah, just expand your philosophy, learn how to travel more. You know what I mean? Use your social skills to teach. Use your social skills to explore your mind. It's very important. What else? Okay, now let's go to Cancer. Cancer. Um, you gotta learn how to be more Capricorn energy. So you need to learn more about the business. Learn more about initiating some form of stability. You know what I mean? You have to learn how to ground your emotions. You know what I'm saying? Once you learn how to ground your emotions, then everything else will make sense for you. Um, when you learn how to ground your emotions, you learn how to be stable from within. You learn how to be stable from within. So being stable from within is like very important because you being the cardinal, your emotions can be all over the place. One day you can feel like this, the other day you can feel something else. But if you have Capricorn energy, you can use that emotions for something, some form of stability. So whether it's getting, you can find some way to make material gain from it. Yeah, so that's very important. Very, very, very important. Showing you the locals and everything. Um, so yeah, so we'll probably do half today and do the other half in the next video in the next series. But yeah, we'll do up to Virgo. All right, so Cancer, yeah, you got to learn how to be more Capricorn energy, learn how to be more stable. You know, not everything has to be emotional. Sometimes it's all about the business. Sometimes you gotta not have any emotional connection to that situation. You gotta just realize that this is just a business situation. You know what I'm saying? And things will make more sense for you. All right, so now we go Leo. Leo, you gotta use more of your Aquarian energy. So sometimes it's good to be on stage. It's good to center stage and know yourself and be charismatic and have a great performance of who you are, and have that inner child. And then there's times where it's time to be serious, aka the Saturn energy with Uranus. So your serious is still kind of like, you can still be playful because it's Uranus energy. You know what I mean? Your Uranus, your stability, Saturn, whatever you find is serious or grounding can be very like still unique, You know what I'm saying? That's why Aquarius energy is very great for like business in today's world because Uranus has to do with electricity, rapid, you know, energy, rapid energy, right? But that brings some form of stability. The internet, social media, you know what I'm saying? People find stability in these type of things. You know what I mean? It creates services that helps you in your day to day life. Calculators, you know, um, the internet, the internet, um, things like that. So the more you learn how to be of the people, sometimes it's good to be center stage, but you gotta be of the people. Sometimes you gotta learn how to be of the people because the more you learn how to be of the people, then you can go back to your um Leo energy and perform better because now you know what the people want. But if you're just focused on the performance, then you will never have the time to know what the people want. And then that's when certain times you might do a joke too much where now the people ain't really, digging it no more. But if you utilize your Aquarius energy, you sit back a little bit and you're like, oh, okay, I see what everyone else is doing now. Okay, let me apply my charismatic gifts to this new, unique form of stability. And now you see your overnight success because you've become holy. You utilized your Uranus energy. You found something new and unique instead of just based on performance. And then you made that your form of stability. Now you can make money off it. You can make a status, a legacy. You know what I mean? That Capricorn energy. That's how you become holy with your Leo Jesus, um, Leo energy, right? The Sun energy. What else? Um, okay, now we got Virgo energy. Virgo, Virgo energy. Okay, so Virgo, to be holy, you got to utilize your Pisces energy. You got to become more spiritual. Not everything has to be based on the physical. When it comes to remedy, certain things has to be subconscious. You know what I mean? Like Reiki healing and things like that. Like just things that, or like just meditating. Not everything has to be medicine and prescription based and physical based. Certain things can only be mended internally. You know what I mean? So that's where the Pisces energy comes in. You know what I'm saying? Which is very important. Um, it's just very important. So yeah, guys, that's the Virgo energy. Make sure you utilize your Pisces energy. Make sure you utilize your subconscious spiritual energy and tap more within. That's how you heal yourself from going within. You know what I'm saying? The more you go within, the more you heal. Don't always worry all the time. Sometimes you can relax, just relax your subconscious. So a lot of sleeping, a lot of meditating, a lot of healing, emotional healing. That's when you become holy with your Virgo energy. So yeah, guys, that's the video for today. Um, Hope you guys gain something new. I'll do the other 6 in the next video. Until next time, I'll catch you soon.